Welcome to this episode of Star Wars Declassified, where we look into different facts and stories revolving around the Star Wars canon universe and lore. After seeing the Rebel Alliance fleet in the Battle of Scarif and Rogue One, a common question amongst fans is where exactly was that fleet during the Battle of Yavin against the first Death Star in A New Hope, and why didn't it help the Rebels fight against the Empire? As it's certainly a valid question, and one that more and more people have started to ask since the release of Rogue One. On this episode of Star Wars Declassified, we'll be examining the Rebels' attack strategy in the Battle of Yavin and answering this question once and for all, on where exactly the Alliance fleet was during this monumental battle. Fortunately, it isn't a difficult one to answer. In the Battle of Yavin, we see a total of 30 Alliance starfighters. This is made up of 22 X-Wings and 8 Y-Wings that attack the Death Star. And if everything considered, this looked like a well-done attack force. But hold on, where was the rest of that impressive Rebel fleet that we saw in Rogue One? The Rebel flagships, transports, and medical frigates, and so on. Well, there are several reasons explaining its absence. First, the Rebel Alliance had to retreat not long ago from the Battle of Scarif, so they had a lot of maintenance work to do on the remaining ships that they had left. After taking part in such an intense battle, there was no way they'd be ready to fight shortly after that. Secondly, the Rebel Alliance had no real reason to deploy all those ships to battle against the Death Star, as they would only be large targets. The main point of sending only X-Wings and Y-Wings was that they were small enough to evade the Death Star's turrets. If the Rebel Alliance did deploy their weakened fleet against the Death Star, it definitely wouldn't have lasted long, and it would have been a waste of resources. In addition, none of the fleet ships would have been able to shoot down proton torpedoes down the exhaust port, so they would only be able to play the role of distracting the Imperials away from the starfighters, which in itself wouldn't matter as much as the X-Wings and Y-Wings already did fairly well avoiding the Death Star turrets without the need of a distraction. And there you have it. The Rebel Alliance, of course, is not as rich in resources like the Empire, so it must be smart on how it uses those resources. After seeing what the Death Star was capable of during the Battle of Scarif, and the Rebels knew that attacking it with its fleet would result only in suicide, which is why it only chose to deploy starfighters to take on the impending Imperial superweapon. And that'll do it for this episode. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and share it, along with subscribing to the channel to not only support it, but keep up with Star Wars news, gaming, and canon lore released every week. And consider following me on Twitter and Facebook to never miss out on the latest Star Wars related content. And if you want to support the channel, do check out our Patreon page. Along if you still want to continue the conversation, join us on the official Silo Discord server. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.